Good morning, this is Jack from the Untitled.net, and this is the pre-market recording for Wednesday, the 10th of March. Our disclaimer: we do this for educational purposes only. We're here to share our technical analysis with you. We hope you can take some of what we're doing and learn from it, transfer it to our own charts, and not here to issue trading signals. Right, yesterday didn't have a clean fail at the daily middle band. It's held as resistance so far, and it may well continue to hold, but we are in an inflection point here where we are making a decision as to whether or not this is going to break up. Now, the key level really to be watching here is the 3900 area. We can go a little over it, but if that converts to support, i.e. we would break over this trend line here and convert that to support, then that would, the obvious read would be that's a flag and that we are going back to retest the high. That would set up the second high of a double top and would be a perfectly acceptable way of topping out here. The odds of doing that have increased because of the way things happened yesterday, because we had a nice looking pair of potential head and shoulder patterns forming on I think IWM and NDX, and they aren't as good looking this morning. If they get much worse looking today, then they're not happening, and a retest of the high would be the obvious way to top out here. We will see. Have we got a little bit of negative divergence here? We will have some as soon as we retest this overnight high. This will only be a weak sell signal, but on the rest of the indices, we could get full-sized ones. NQ is at declining resistance now. We've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing. RTY. RTY has retested this high. We've got a possible weakish, but stronger than the ES one, 60-minute sell signal brewing. I was talking about these as the obvious places to go in chart chat. We're making them now, or we're testing them now. On Dow, we've already got a 60-minute sell signal fixed. We could be rejecting back up into the high after this little double top broke down. The sell signal would suggest that would be the second high of a larger double top and be setting up a move which could get us down into the weekly pivot area. DAX and the STX already have 60-minute sell signals fixed, making new highs at the moment. Obviously, we could lose those divergences. We could fail those sell signals, but at the moment, I'd be leaning towards seeing some sort of fail or decent retracement starting pretty soon. We will see how that goes. Now, I haven't got the charts ready for it yet, but I am going to open up some charts for you, and those are going to be the charts for the Big Five. I just want to run you through that to show how much potential to the upside there is on the Big Five charts here. Amazon. We've got daily RSI 5 buy signal is fixed. We've broken up through this channel resistance. We could well be looking at a decent rally here. Is that a decent looking IHS which has formed and broken up? Yeah, it is. Now this could reject back up into the low, but if it doesn't, then the target would be in the 3200 area. Let's have a look at Apple. Apple, we've got a possible RSI 14 buy signal brewing. We've got a possible RSI 5 buy signal brewing, albeit a weak one there. On the hourly chart, we've got no signals here, but we've got a potential double bottom, but no resistance break here. I've got that resistance at about the 125.5 area. The reason I'm going through these today is because tech has been leading the way down here. So I'm just showing you how fragile that downtrend looks. And it may be that that NDX is setting up a larger rally here, and that could propel us up into the high retest on ES. On Facebook, we've got a slight break over this declining resistance. It's not very strong, but it's not bad. This could be a little double bottom which is breaking up. This has definitely got some potential to the upside. On Netflix, Tesla. Tesla on the daily chart, we've got an RSI 5 buy signal which is fixed. Obvious resistances at the daily middle band. We've got a possible IHS neckline in the 750 area. On the hourly chart, RSI 14 buy signal is getting pretty close to the possible near-miss target. You can see that we're breaking slightly over the declining resistance. Netflix. Netflix, on the daily chart, no current positive divergence. This hasn't really been looking the same as the others, so there isn't as obvious a low setup here, but we do have an RSI 14 buy signal fixed and a potential little double bottom here. Google was the strongest of all the techs. No positive divergence on the daily. It's holding the daily middle band as support at the moment, and nothing really on the hourly. We could be setting up for a high retest here. Now, the reason I went through the Big Five was just to show you that actually a lot of those are looking pretty bullish. So would it be that surprising if it broke up, and I think the answer is not really now, no. So this is an important inflection point, and we could well break up. We will see. Platinum. Am I still leaning towards higher? We're on an RSI 14 buy signal. We don't have any positive divergence here at the moment on the daily. I'm still thinking this looks an awful lot like a flag. I'm wondering about a retest of this low to set up positive divergence on the daily RSI 5, but this could well be setting up for a high retest. If it isn't, then the obvious target would be a test of this rising support here, currently in the 975 area. Chances are it's going to do one or the other. At the moment, we've got the daily middle band at 1221. We're below it. First decent sign that we're heading back to a retest of this high would be a breaking conversion of the daily middle band to support. And this would obviously also break through any obvious declining resistance trend lines that we've got here. Okay, let's move on to DX. Did I have a look at the RTX? I don't think I looked at the the real time. No, I didn't. Let's have a quick look at those first. Right, ES. Obviously, we held this support here. We could be heading back to the trendline resistance in the 4,000 area. I'm slightly skeptical about that, but and I tend to watch the SPX rising support more, and that one did break. But this one is holding, so I'm watching that with interest. Obviously, we're testing the daily middle band. We broke above it intraday yesterday, and we closed just under it on both ES and SPX. So we have no break yet, but that doesn't mean we're not going to get a break coming soon. On the hourly chart, no current divergence, and we didn't quite make it to this declining resistance, although I think I've got that drawn slightly wrong, because on the 5 minute we did make it. Hang on a second, let's see if I can show you that. 15 minutes, hang on. Yeah, that's the main declining resistance trend line. You can see we broke very slightly over it. It's not a conviction break. I wouldn't read too much into it at the moment, but we will see. We've also got, and this is interesting, we closed on this rising support here. This would give us an obvious resistance trend line here on SPX for this rising wedge in about 39.10 ES area, much higher than that. If we get there, I'll be watching that. And that'll be well worth watching. That is a nice pattern, and that was a beautiful test of this rising support at the close yesterday. Looking at the other indices, NDX, I've got a possible RSI 5 buy signal brewing, and if we didn't have this larger one, we'd have a smaller one, which had already fixed. On the daily chart, on the hourly chart, we've got no obvious. I mean, there is a case for retest this low. This could be a head and shoulders forming. We're already over the ideal right shoulder high, and the IWM one is considerably over it. So I'm not thinking that looks as much like a head and shoulders this morning as it did yesterday morning. Still on an RSI 14 sell signal on the main IWM chart. We're on an RSI 14 buy signal on the hourly, which hasn't made target yet, and maybe on the way. This could be a right shoulder forming, but it may be that we'll come down and finish the head next and then do a right shoulder. But if this is a right shoulder, it's looking rather oversized now, that is weakening it as a head and shoulder pattern. On Dow, we came back, retested the high as I was expecting. We're on an RSI 5 buy signal, but that's reached the possible near miss target already. On the hourly chart, a little bit of negative divergence here, but we could get a decent, although weak, RSI 14 sell signal brewing here with a retest of the high this morning. We will see how that goes. I have to say, the standout looking at the charts this morning is this one here in terms of, the interest. No, sorry, it's this one. Right, this is the pattern from obviously the last low, and it's a really nice pattern. That's a beautiful trend line. We've got a resistance trend line here, which is gorgeous as well. This is a beautiful rising wedge. If we get back to this, and if we get up into about 39.10 area, I will be watching that resistance trend line very, very carefully, and we will see how that goes. All right, let's move on. Let's have a look at DX. DX, pretty much made it to rising support. Yeah, it has. We could well see another leg up here. The week 60-minute sell signal has reached the possible near miss target. I'm wondering about retest the highs on DX and retest the lows on GC and SI. We could well be about to see those. ZB, kind of looks like a flag. 60-minute sell signal is fixed, hasn't made the possible near miss target yet. I'm wondering about a retest of this low. We do not need that for daily divergence, of which we have plenty already, but if we were setting up a nested double bottom setup here, then that would set up the second low of the smaller double bottom, and we could see a large rally from there. If that rally was to make the full target and convert 161 to support, that could get as high as the 166.5 area, as I mentioned yesterday. CL, no current positive divergence here. Could be a flag breaking up. I think Stan's expecting another low for the 3-back before this breaks up, but I'm wondering if this is breaking up now towards a retest of this high. NG is bottoming out. This falling wedge is looking pretty good. Now, if this falls down, I've got the next big support level in about the 2.3 area and a retest of this low. But at the moment, this is holding. And while this continues to hold, then this is a nice looking little double bottom. Goes back to the weak pivot, and I'm wondering whether we're reversing with an obvious target back to and probably through declining resistance currently in the 2.8 area. In GC, nice move up here, wondering about a retest of the low, possible weak 60-minute sell signal brewing now. SI, wondering about a retest of the low here too, kind of looks like a flag from the low, no obvious alternate reversal pattern. HG, kind of looks like a flag as well, doesn't need to break up now, but if we do, we're probably going to see a retest of this high. USD, hasn't broken declining resistance yet. DX is a bit of perfect touch. It could be, well, I have to say DX is the better pattern, so that's the main one I'm watching. This could be a small IHS breaking up that's down sloping, but it's a bit sloppy. I'm not taking the pattern that seriously. GBP USD is back up over the weekly pivot and monthly pivot. I think Stan's expecting more downside. We could see that. We will see. This could be a triangle breaking up. I'm keeping an open mind at the moment. Obviously, if DX is going to retest the high, then we're probably going to see some more downside on it. And some more upside on USD-JPY, which is testing the rising support at the moment. 60-minute sell signal has reached a possible near miss target. Might see a retest of the high here too. USD-CAD, not a particularly clear pattern setup here. We will see how that goes, but it could be a triangle forming. If so, that would probably lean bullish. Australian dollar has broken up from this falling wedge and is going higher at the moment. This is a potential double bottom, which is breaking up from. That would have a target, probably to retest this high here in about the 78.4 area, if that goes to make the target. Monthly pivot on the way in the 77.59 area. NZUSD looks like it's going higher. This could be a flag forming. Maybe it could fail here and give us a decent looking flag channel. No current negative divergence. KC, nice breakup, failing at the weekly pivot so far, wondering about a retest of the low to set up a better double bottom. I've got on the bigger picture, there is definitely a case for a retest of this low, and that may be what we're about to see, particularly if we're about to rally on DX, which it looks like we might be. SB, this had a lovely little double bottom, fell back into the low. This could be the second low of a larger double bottom, but I would say this move here has broken a significant support trend line on the daily chart. We will see how that goes. Could be heading lower. CC, looks like a triangle forming, likely to deliver a retest of this low before it's done. ZW, no obvious pattern set up here and nothing really on the daily chart. We do have a possible overall double top here. We've got another one of those on corn, although not nearly as nice, and this could be an overall triangle forming here. Leaning towards seeing a retest of this corn high in the not too distant future, and it may or may not turn there when it gets there. Soy has already retested that high, than this high, making a series of marginal higher highs at the moment, but not with decent double top patterns really. Keeping an open mind, no current positive divergence. Cotton, we've got daily sell signals on cotton, and this had a nice possible IHS forming and then broke down from that, but I've got a beautiful wedge here. I am very much wondering about a retest the high. Retest this low would set up a 60-minute bicycle brewing, but I'm wondering if this wedge is going to continue to form, and if this breaks up, then this could be a flag setting up a retest of this high. Lumber, pretty close to a retest of the high, could well be the second high of a double top when we get there. Live cattle, trying to break up from a double bottom, not delivering it so far. If the weekly pivot holds the support, I'd be looking for the target in about the 121.8 area. And lean hogs, really looking for a retest of the high. That seems the obvious next move. Okay, question. What will I be looking for today? I would love to see a move up into 39.10, hit my trend line, and a hard fell. That would be great. A close below the daily middle band. So I would like to see the short-term pattern setup deliver very nicely. And break down, and I would like to see a continued respect of the daily middle band as resistance. An alternative number 2 would be that we held the 39.10 to 20 area as resistance, respected my wedge, and then broke up from over the daily middle band today and then rejected back below it tomorrow. Because the first thing you're looking for is a confirming close above it if you see a close above. So it's quite acceptable for a fail to involve a break above and then a rejection back below the next day. Generally speaking, it will be the next day. But the first choice would be head up to the trendline resistance. Just recap where that is. Okay, here on the 5-minute chart, and this is a nice wedge from the low. 3 touches. It's peachy. We tested this at the close yesterday. That was a beautiful touch, and I'm really looking for a test of this trend line here. This would be in about 39, 13, 14 area. That's nice. That's nice. Yeah, we may well be failing at the daily middle band here. My concern is the big 5 charts, and that's why I showed those to you. My concern is that the big 5 charts are looking pretty bullish, but we could still see another lower low. But the big 5 charts are suggesting that we'd see a lower low, and then we might well see that retest the high, which we wouldn't be doing now. So we will see. I would be more confident about this being turning down here if I had a decent flag setup. Because I don't, it makes me wonder if one's still forming. And if we're breaking the resistance slightly to set up an alternate trend line that will work better. So we'll see. But anyway, ideal. Head up to the 29.15 area on SPX, 29.10 to 12 area on ES, hard fail there. Would be a great setup for a lower low. And that would look very good indeed. Okay, let's have a quick recap of the others. Now, ES. We have got some negative divergence here as soon as we retest this high, and we've got the negative divergence pretty much everywhere else already. NQ, that's a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing, and it's a stronger one. But you can see NQ has finally actually found its feet, and looking at the big 5 charts, which I've shown you, this has potential to the upside, and I'm watching that carefully. YM, on a sell signal, could retest this high, set up nested double tops. RTY, nice looking, possible weakish 60-minute sell signal brewing. And we've got 60-minute sell signals fixed already on DAX and ESTX. Not much sign of weakness on those. What are the odds that we are going to break up? I would put them at 40%. There's quite a lot of power underlying this, particularly looking at the big 5 charts. And the way NDX is behaving this morning. We could break up through this. So as it is, it's a lovely wedge on SPX, and until that is broken, I will be taking that extremely seriously. Break up from that and sustain the break, and that's going to be looking pretty bearish. If we see a break up over the daily middle band today, now that would normally be a trend line break, a level break to be respected, but with one exception. If you reject back below it the next day, then that is a rejection, and it's the rejection that needs to be respected. So now it needs to be a strong rejection. We need to see a clear close back below it, but that's the first thing I'm looking for after we see a break back above. Consolidate that and head straight up, and we can do a retest of the high, which would be an obvious thing to do now. And NDX, the charts generally are pretty supportive of that. Looking at IWM, I'm sorry, I got another question on that. Any more questions? Drop them in, guys. I'll just head straight through. All right, IWM. Looking at the weekly chart, we are on weekly sell signals, just to mention, but that doesn't mean we're not going to see a retest of this high as part of the topping process. We could well see that. RSI 14 sell signal fixed on the daily, no divergence on RSI 5. Obviously, we're testing the daily middle band there too. We are still on an RSI 14 buy signal on the hourly chart, and I am wondering about a possible retest of this high. In the event this breaks up, we probably won't see it unless ES breaks up. Which is at the moment still very much in doubt, and I'd be leaning the majority. There's NDX and there's various buy signals fixing and so on, but at the moment I would say the predominance of evidence is favouring a lower low at about 60-40. So we could, if we do some damage to the upside, that could well swing in the favor of the retest of the high. We will see. All right, any more questions, guys? Nope. In that case, that's a wrap. We will see how it goes today. Anyway, I'm really looking for that test on that of that SPX trend line. So I think the next stop may well be 39.10 to 12 on ES, and we will see what we find there. All right, cheers, guys. Catch you later.